everyone. I'm welcome to this new episode of our Student Spotlight series where we are able to showcase some of the work our past students have done. I'm Charlotte, one of the outreach coordinators here at CCIR, and it's our pleasure today to have Isabel with us, who did our one-on-one mentorship. So firstly, Isabel, can you just introduce yourself? So tell us where you're from, what year you are in school, and then what made you seek out CCIR?
Okay, so my name is Isabel from Shanghai. I'm from Shanghai High School International Division, and I'm currently in my junior year. And I attended CCIR from in the summer last year. And CCIR was my first actual research experience and program. So I think it really allowed me to understand the basics of how to conduct research, and it also gave me lots of insights into what I want to major in the future. And I think I'm pretty interested in psychology and neuroscience, so in the future, I think I'm majoring in psychology.
Great. And then can you give us a general overview of what your course was about?
So mine was the one-on-one mentorship. So it wasn't a class, and we surrounded my interest and my topic completely. So before entering, I already had a general idea of what direction I want to focus my research on. And then at the start, we narrowed down the topic, and he gave me materials and some general knowledge, basic knowledge about my topic. And then later on, he gave me more papers, and then he taught me how to write, and he edited some of my writing. Yeah, that was the overview of the course.
And what was your research topic?
It was evaluating the effects of dance movement therapy on autism spectrum disorder.
Okay, and you said that you had some previous experience with this subject before.
Yeah, I in school, I think I had limited courses or subjects around this, but I'm pretty interested in this topic because I attended some activities and volunteers around autisms, and I also have been dancing for many years. So I think this was a something I really wanted to look into.
Nice. Seems like it's a nice topic to kind of tie in your two interests. Um, and then was this your first time? So you had experience kind of with this subject before, but was this your first time looking at it through kind of a traditional research lens or doing a research project on the subject?
Yeah, I think it was the first time I actually researched on this, because before when I attended the activities or volunteers, I only had a general understanding of autism. So this time it actually was pretty in depth.
Right. Okay. Um, and then so now we're actually going to discuss your specific research topic. So you told us what it was about. Can you tell us, walk us through kind of what your research methods and what your research process was like?
Okay, so at the start, he gave me lots of materials on uh, the fundamental the fundamental knowledge. For example, autism spectrum disorder. We looked at the all the symptoms and potential causes, treatment, and it was a wholesome review of it. And then we looked at what dance movement therapy is, including the activities or frameworks it adopts, and also what effects did many of the studies see, how it affected the children with autism. And then because at the start of the course, I said that I was pretty interested in how it can affect the brain, specifically in autism. So he allowed me to look at some papers surrounding music therapy's effect on the brain, and then we connected these findings to dance movement therapy because there's limited research about the brain for dance, so we used music therapy instead.
Interesting. Yeah, I bet it's quite a niche topic, so I bet it might have been hard to find some data specifically on, sorry, specifically on music therapy. Um, were you able to find when you were looking at the music therapy research, were you able to find studies specifically on autism?
Yeah, there were some studies on autism. Uh, we also looked at one where they tested how children with autism, how they responded differently to different musics, and also uh, how I think one of it was not specifically on autism, but it discussed how music therapy worked in general.
Okay, nice. And then can you walk us through your findings for the paper?
Okay, so in general, first we found out about how dance movement therapy works. At the start, I wasn't that sure about it, and then we found that the major techniques involved in it include mirroring, which is like one children initiating a movement and the other doing something similar in echo, and then also uh, improvisation or or group activities involving like uh, games or forming shapes in a group or uh, or adopting like tools such as like hula hoops or these other objects in as in additional thing to use. And then we also found out the effects, how it affects. So the first section is on sociability and communication, and this was where it found the most effects, the most positive effects, and that a lot of the children who had this therapy, were they could communicate better with other people and they could establish better relationships, better bonds. And others include emotional regulation and nonverbal language, which is body language. For example, one study I remember, it said that their children were more comfortable with interacting with them using their body. They could feel how their connection was more intimate. And I think for a few categories, such as stereotypical behavior, I think there wasn't that consistent results. It didn't improve as much. So there are categories where dance movement therapy did not work that effectively.
Interesting. Was this kind of what you were expecting to find, or were you surprised by the findings?
Um, I think for sociability, it was pretty expected because the major difficulty with autism is sociability. So I think the therapy is should always cater to improving this. But I think a lot of the other results they were not fully certain. So some studies showed this and others showed that, which was not as expected. Yeah, because I think dance movement therapy is not not as well known as other therapies.
Yeah, right. Maybe your paper will inspire some new studies. Maybe you'll continue doing this in the future and have some studies about dance movement therapy. And then my last question about your specific research paper, can you tell us what your experience in the publication process has been? Have you received help with CCIR and are you in the process now?
Yeah, so the CCR, they gave me lots of potential conferences and journals to publish, and then I chose one conference and one journal. So I already published the conference which is I think the Asian Pacific Autism Conference, And the journal, I'm not yet finished, but I'm in the process. I think it's the Princeton Journal of Interdisciplinary Research. And at the start, I sent my paper to the CCIR so they could give me some edits, mainly on. Uh, they also gave me structures on how to format my essay uh, to fit the requirements of the publications, and also some minor details. They all read through it and made sure it was correct. Yeah, and now I'm almost going to publish it on the journal.
Nice. That's super exciting. So now we're going to shift into discussing just your general experience with CCIR. So firstly, can you tell us what your experience was like in the program doing a high-level research project like this as a high school student?
So I think it was still pretty rigorous because for each week I had to read lots of materials, lots of papers, and I think for me it's pretty hard to stay like stay for a long time and read a paper that includes a lot of professional vocabulary and maybe some concepts I don't understand that much. So I think it was pretty hard to read these papers. But then each session, uh, the professor would uh, go through any parts that I didn't understand so that I could comprehend the paper. And also, I think one of the uh, things I learned the most is what should be included in a research paper, because I think there will still be lots of future research projects, and I know how to structure it and how to, for example, I need to include sections on the inclusion criteria of studies and uh, summarizing summarizing the differences between like data collection methods and results. So it's not only looking for um, the results that you want for your research topic, but also going through like the methods, reviewing the methods of how the studies collected these data.
Mhm. And what was this research project or research experience like compared to papers or projects that you've worked on in school?
I think it was definitely more thorough and it was a rigorous research process. So in school projects, I think we mainly would write essays or uh, we would do certain projects. For example, the final uh, project is to create poster or presentation. And I think for this, it doesn't require as much. You don't need to dig deep that much into each paper, or you don't need to cover as much content. But for this, you have to follow this step by step from understanding it to applying your own like critical thinking or evaluating these studies.
Nice. And then my last question about your experience with CCIR. Um, can you tell me what it was like? So obviously the course that you did or what you research is extremely niche. So can you tell us what it was like having access to that such niche information with a mentor that has, expertise in that area compared to high school or many even undergraduate level courses that are much more broad, like Psychology 101, for example?
Yeah, I think this topic, I think if I were to do it myself, I wouldn't find as much information because the studies are pretty limited. And I think the professor, he really provided me with the specific information I needed. And I think this is pretty good if I really want to connect two very different interests or topics together and conduct this special special research topic. But however, I still think broader topics are really useful to expand, to discover what other topics I may be interested in. And I think these fundamental knowledge, it's from these broader courses, it is still needed and can be applied to my more specific research areas.
Yeah, definitely. And then just a few more questions for you. The first one, has this course given you any insight into your future? Has it maybe informed or shaped how you think of your path moving forward at all?
So I think I got to know what what specifically what interest I have. So before the research, I only thought that I would like to major in something related to neuroscience or psychology. And I think this research was actually pretty leaning toward psychology rather than neuroscience because a lot of the studies were surrounding behavior because of the limited information on the brain or nervous system pathways. And uh, I think I got to know which type of research I want to do. For example, like lab, like more STEM related, like lab work versus more psychology related. So I think I kind of know which side of research I like more.
Nice. And then my last question for you, what would you say to someone who asked you what the value of doing a project or a program like this is, especially for a high school student?
Okay, so I think first it's definitely a way to look at something really specifically that you're interested in. So as I combined two of my interests together, and uh, this can really show like which specific areas you're passionate about. So I think if you're passionate about a subject or you have or maybe a specific community of people. So for me, it was autism. I think you can conduct very valuable research and maybe learn ways you can help them or uh, provide information on therapies or treatment. And this is a very valuable outcome. And also for yourself, it's also uh, if you don't really know how to conduct research or by yourself, you can't really find enough the right materials or how to actually write one. I think it's a really good opportunity to learn it here.
Great. I think that's a great advice. So that brings us to the end of our interview. Thank you so much for chatting to me, and congratulations again on your nomination to our Spotlight series.
Thank you.